Jeez, what's up with all the wind and rain and cold? It's like it's winter or something. Gamers! What is up? Vernon here, and if you're not familiar, this is Gaming Bytes. And a big shout out goes to Brian Swanson of HoldTheLine.com. He likes to post his streams of PlayStation 4 games. He was nice enough to do that for us, and just to let you know, I really appreciate it, buddy. You know, getting to know the PS4 graphics on a weekly basis is something that I truly enjoy, and I hope you keep it up, you know, in playing different games and stuff like that, or even just, you know, if you wanted to put on, like, you know, a playthrough of just one game, you know, at a time, just go through it week by week, 2 hours at a time on Sundays, you know, whatever you decide to do with it, buddy, I'm right there with you. I really enjoy watching, you know, what games you put on there, so thank you very much. Twitch.tv/HTLTV if you guys want to check that out. And if you tuned in last week, you know that I have delved into a topic that I'm not sure many people think about, and that is what games that have come out this year could very well be standalone titles as opposed to just sequels tacked onto a franchise to make an extra buck. So let's get started. And continuing on from last week, the next game that I would like to talk about is BioShock Infinite. Now, the story, spoiler alert if you haven't played it yet, or if you haven't read a bunch of spoilers online already, apparently there are a lot of universes in which this story takes place, and there are a lot of things that happen if certain other things don't happen, so you wind up having multiple versions of the same character running around with similar powers or abilities to the last character. So I don't know, I could see taking that, you know, BioShock off of it and just having it be infinite, since there are an infinite number of universes, which I could totally believe could happen in real life, you know, sure. I believe that there's another Vernon out in another universe who believes that Friends is the best television show of all time, but maybe that Vernon never had access to Friends, maybe that Vernon is a superhero or something like that, and he shoots spaghetti out of his fingertips. Either way, what we have here is a great opportunity for a new franchise, a fresh start. I don't even know why they put BioShock in front of the title, because yes, while I believe there are some references to the other BioShock games, I've been told and I've read and I've seen that there's little tie-in to the other two games, so why not have it as its own franchise? You have little nods here and there, but just make it its own franchise. And the next game really isn't a game, it's more of a DLC add-on, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. And now this has many throwbacks to, you know, just 80s pop culture, and it's an awesome ride. The problem that I have with it is that it was attached to Far Cry 3 to begin with. Remember Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare? Now that was sort of tied into, not the main storyline, but it had the same characters, and, you know, there are zombies running around, you have to evade them as John Marston and, you know, save the day. However, with Blood Dragon, it's a bit of a different story because it's not even the same main character from the storyline of Far Cry 3. So I'm kind of confused as to why that isn't its own thing. If anything, I would assume that Ubisoft would have released it as something on Steam or something like that as a test, and then you make a new franchise off of that, because Blood Dragon was very well received as a DLC attachment, but I think it could have done so much better as its own franchise. But that's just me. Moving on, we have Splinter Cell Blacklist, and I know that everyone loves Sam Fisher, but he's really a thin protagonist. I mean, we have plenty of gravel-voiced protagonists walking around, brooding and grunting all the time. Do we really need to continue this specific protagonist's story, especially after Conviction? I think that Blacklist, you know, could have served as a jump-off point for a new character, a new franchise, especially for Tom Clancy's, you know, work. While Sam Fisher had a good run, I think it's time to put him to bed and let a new character with a gravelly voice and all of his grunting take over, or even have it be a woman. Why not? Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. We don't really see that many pirate games that are as good as this. Now, Ubisoft has said many times over that if it's not franchise material, they're not going to work with it. If it doesn't have the potential for a franchise like Assassin's Creed, like Far Cry, like Splinter Cell, they're not even going to work with it. Watch Dogs, they're planning on, over the next 10 years, riding it out over 10 years of however many sequels and prequels they plan to do with that. My point is this: Assassin's Creed, while it wouldn't have done so well without the Animus concept, I think the first Assassin's Creed would have done well on its own, and then you can spawn sequels from that. But because of the Animus, it could span lifetimes and generations and different time periods. They found a cash cow with that, and I think that that's what's made the series so successful. Now you add different features, but basically you could kind of see where I'm going with this, in that yes, while it was a good game, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag definitely could have stood on its own as its own franchise. Make a good pirate game where you hunt whales and sharks and deal in the daily business of being a pirate. Just some food for thought, but I definitely think Assassin's Creed Black Flag, especially with the story that was tacked on, it definitely could have stood on its own. As far as sequels and prequels that have come out this year, I've named mine from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. What are yours? What do you think about the titles that I've listed and the titles that, you know, came out this year? Or what are you looking forward to that is a sequel or a prequel, and what games have you played that are sequels, prequels, spin-offs, whatever, that you think might have done better if they were just their own franchise and not tacked on to an already used up and milked dry franchise? What do you think about it? Comment below and let me know. And folks, if you're not totally filled in, you can come to holdtheline.com. We've got great written content. You can come to our twitch.tv channel, twitch.tv/HTLTV, to check out our live streams. Unfortunately, Gilius will not be doing the verdict anymore, but Hero Talk is on every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about The Hobbit this Saturday, December 7th, so be sure to join us. If there are movies that you'd like to hear us talk about, maybe leave some suggestions in the chat box while we're talking about The Hobbit, or come to holdtheline.com, find me, find Victoria, also known as Siren, and, you know, we'll talk about it. Or if you'd like to be featured on the live stream, just come find any one of us and say, hey, you know, I want to talk about these movies with you guys. Otherwise, my name is Vernon Tuit. I hope you enjoyed getting to it. Much love to you all, and I'll see you next time on holdtheline.com. And the first one I want to talk about is, and the next one I want to talk about and the next one I want to talk about next